Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello to you, wherever you are in the world. A very, very warm welcome on this amazing day here out of the United Kingdom. It's currently 7 p.m. British summertime, and boy, do we have some beautiful summer joining us here in the UK. It's been long overdue, but it brings smiles and joy to everyone. And I am hugely excited to be welcoming an amazing, amazing guest to live, learn, teach, inspire. This guest is someone who I hold in high regard. It's someone I've had the privilege of not just working with, but meeting in person and spending some exceptional quality time and getting to see how she delivers her incredible, beautiful energy and education and inspires people to the next level. It is a woman out of Rochester, New York. Her name is Dr. Pamala Brown-Grinion, and her journey through education is absolutely nothing short of inspiring. She holds, honestly, so many incredible certifications, qualifications, and degrees. Not only that, as you heard me say earlier, Dr. Pamala Brown Dr. Pamala Brown-Grinion is her title. So from, strategic leadership to doctorate in executive organizational leadership to coming through our prestigious organization, the British School of Excellence. Believe it or not, she's got some phenomenal talent, finesse, and flair when it comes to interior decoration. She's also a New York State certified trainer in trauma, responsive resilience, informed care, and a New York State licensed life insurance agent. Her commitment to lifelong learning is a real strong and unbelievable testament to her unwavering and continuous dedication to personal and professional growth and development. With all guidance and steering, Dr. Pamala's legacy of positive change and unwavering dedication shines brilliantly wherever she travels. And due to her extensive and laudable experiences, she was selected as an honoree in Who's Who in America, the Professional Speakers Bureau International. Dr. Pamala is also a proud member of the Rochester, New York chapter of the Links Incorporated, and Dr. Pamala Brown-Grinion is joining us all the way from Rochester, New York. Welcome, Dr. Pamala.
Thank you, Mr. Phillip, for having me. I consider this an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. So thank you very much.
Oh, it's such a joy. It really is. I miss you. You were here not that long ago in June with the most powerful incorporated woman that we had the privilege to engage with and work with. So I know it won't be too long before we get together very soon, and we've got lots of exciting things to share with the audience along the lines of joint ventures, partnerships, and building some incredible material for our teams. I'd love to start off, Dr. Pamala, by asking you a question. I would love you to share a little bit about your personal journey from poverty to becoming a doctor and how your experiences have shaped your understanding of the importance of etiquette, manners, and emotional intelligence.
That's a great question, Mr. Phillip. So I would say that's what makes the journey so incredible. When you take a little Black girl living in an impoverished situation with a single mother, and now just working my way through the ranks with education and learning all of the attributes and skills for etiquette, the journey was phenomenal. So like I said, I started out as a young girl, just growing up in the inner city with my siblings and my mom. And, it wasn't great all the time, but we had as much of a closeness as we could have. And I know that my mom, although I didn't understand it when I was a kid living through it, I know unequivocally that my mom did the very best that she could with what she had. And with the way that I lived, I just knew that there was something greater in life. There was something bigger in life. There were more places to go in life. And I've always aspired to have more, do more, be more. I probably got in trouble a little bit for all of my why questions and, when my mom would tell me to do something, but that was just my curiosity and just always wanting to grow. And I was fortunate enough to have some wonderful leading ladies, as I call them, to be a part of my life. My one godmother, Erlina Hill, taught me or inspired me to become the lady that I am. And then once I learned etiquette, I coupled that with what she showed me live in a living color. And my other godmother, Dolores Simmons, she impressed upon me, you have to have an education. And so I just put the two together, and voila, here you have it, Dr. Pamala Brown-Grinion.
What a superb introduction to you, a bit about your background. It really is. And I know we could dig a lot deeper into that background of coming from, poverty and your mum juggling 100 balls just to keep the family going forward. And that's possibly for another Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire, because your story, when we go into it, is so inspirational, as is the material that I know you would love to share with us today. Tell me, in this journey, when it comes to the importance of etiquette and manners, what role do you feel that etiquette played in your journey to becoming a doctor? And how did it really help you navigate the different social and professional environments?
Well, the way that it has helped me, again, was always wanting to know more and do more and be more. And I had a small taste when I attended the Barbizon School of Modeling, without my mother's permission, by the way. I attended Barbizon, and part of the lesson plan was learning etiquette. And before I could get through the entire lesson, my mom found out, pulled me out of the program and said, I don't even know how you got in this program, but you're coming out of this program. But it was just enough to wet my whistle and inspire me and pique an interest of, okay, because I always tried, little things like setting the table with our paucity of flatware that we had, but I always tried doing that. And I would get in trouble for, messing up the dishes that we weren't using. But I was inspired because I saw it on the soap operas. I saw it on the Brady Bunch. I saw it on Leave It to Beaver, where they sat around the table. Someone set the table, and then they all dined together. And that was something that it was something about it that it looked beautiful. I wondered why we didn't do that. And so, I just kind of was inspired through all of these television and people and, the soap operas. And so once I got that taste of it, I knew that this was something that I wanted to be a part of. And then I just started to educate myself. I purchased or checked out of the library every Emily Post and Vanderbilt and every other Judith Martin, every other etiquette maven's book that I could get my hands on. I had to have it. I had to read it, peruse it. I had to touch it in some kind of way. And then the internet came, and then there were so many lessons that I learned through the internet. And then coming to you, Mr. Phillip, I must say was the highlight of my etiquette career thus far. Just, finding out about your program many years ago, and then finally having the opportunity to take part in it was amazing, nothing short of amazing. And so I believe that putting all of these skills together, even prior to coming to your program, just putting all of these skills together and behaving in a way that wasn't ordinary or normal, always looking the part, dressing the part, behaving the part, even when I didn't have it, even then when I didn't have money in my pocket, I always looked like $1 million. And I always carried myself like a lady wherever I went. And it helped me to break down doors for myself and have entrance into rooms that I ordinarily would not have had access to.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Gives me goosebumps for many reasons, and I love the fact you mentioned the Brady Bunch. Gosh, that brings back memories. In turn, it just shows you how young we are, Dr. Pamela.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it definitely does. But I just love the fact that you really ensconced yourself into and the hunger for learning and taking this on board. And as you know, Dr. Pamela, we all understand how important education is, but if we do not have access to education, we know, and you and I both know, that etiquette and manners can open huge doors for anybody out there.
Absolutely.
So even though you came from such a challenging background, boy, did you say, I'm not putting up with this. I'm going to change, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to make an impact on myself and other people. And this is something that you've really answered that question, which helps me lead into really, I've thought of an amazing question. And in that view of how do you feel that etiquette and manners gave you that incredible ability to overcome socioeconomic barriers and achieve professional success?
Well, I never allowed what I've lived through to live me down. I never was the type of person where I wanted to look like what I was going through or what I have been through. I always wanted, when people saw me, that they saw someone that they could aspire to, or somebody that was inspirable, that, someone that they could look up to, especially the young ladies. And so being in different environments, purposefully, intentionally connecting with people that I knew could open doors for me. And again, people assumed that I had a college degree when I didn't. People assumed that I came from a more lucrative background, for lack of a better word. People made assumptions because of the way that I carried myself. And it just opened professional doors. It opened educational doors. I really, 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 truly gained access into places where sometimes I was at the table asking myself, how did I get here? Truly. So just behaving properly, being my authentic self, wanting to shine from the inside first, and presenting myself in a light where I was positive. I didn't complain about what was or what isn't. I was positive, and I projected an image. To put it in the words of Madam BC, I dressed the way I wanted to be addressed.
Ooh, you got a good memory. You got a great memory, Madam BC. I just remember those words coming out of her mouth, and it just resonated with everyone, and I love that. And this is something that you and I both 150% believe in, and that is nothing's ever achieved unless truly first imagined. And that is absolutely so. For any listeners out there just listening, just to the tip of the iceberg of Dr. Pamela's story, I hope this is inspiring you and giving you really strong food for thought on how we can make changes in our life, no matter where we come from and what position we're in right now. And I love that, Dr. Pamela. I love your inspiration into your journey. Now, when it comes to connecting on the importance of etiquette and manners, do you have any memories of or examples of specific etiquette skills that were particularly crucial in your journey from those wonderful, humble beginnings to being a successful sort of doctorate and coming through your beautiful career thus far?
Absolutely. Excuse me. I would say number one is to learn the art of communication. Number one, learn how to speak properly, learn how to enunciate, learn how to pronunciate, and learn how to say the most commonly misspelled words properly. And I actually teach that to my students at my etiquette school. I teach them the most commonly mispronounced words because people make assumptions. Like I said, people assume that I was this or that, right? People make assumptions about you when you walk through the door. And it was important to me that as people are summing me up as I walk through the door, as I approach them, that once I opened my mouth, that people would think, okay, this is an intelligent lady right here. This is someone that is intelligent. And I didn't talk with a lot of fluff or foolery, as my made up word that me and my best friends use. I didn't talk with a lot of foolishness. I spoke facts, I articulated well, and I made sense. The second thing that I would say would be to get your wardrobe together, because people are summing you up from the moment that they see you. 6 seconds, right, Mr. Phillips? 6 seconds, and someone can read you from head to toe just by looking at your attire. So communication and just making sure that you are put together exceptionally will open up doors like nobody's business.
Love that. And I know there's so much more depth to that as well, because it sounds straightforward for those people out there in the world who look at etiquette and manners as for posh people, rich people, blah, blah, blah. But etiquette and manners, as we all know, is for anybody and everybody worldwide. It is shamelessly beautiful and wonderful, and it's inclusive. It's not exclusive. Let me tell you, you and I, we all know people from all walks of life that have no etiquette and manners, and it often does lean into quite a few exceptionally wealthy people. They think they can just flaunt themselves around the way they want to, and they don't need the power of etiquette and manners. And as you and I both agree, we look at the power of etiquette and manners and our emotional intelligence like a superhero cloak. And this is something that is just so, so powerful. Tell me, when it comes to your journey thus far, how would you sort of bring in balance, maintaining authentic self-expression with adhering to the formalities of etiquette in both personal and professional settings?
Well, it all boils down to being able to code switch effectively. So when I'm at home, I am a different person. I can let my hair down, I can just be Pam, right? But when I'm in the public's eye, I have to be on, because I know that people are always watching me. People are always summing me up. And because I am an etiquette coach, people are always trying to catch you doing something wrong. And so for me, the authenticity part it's inward. And at my school, that's what we teach, from the inside out. You have to know who you are. To thine own self be true, right? So even when I'm at home, if I'm in a coaching session, if I'm at a meeting, if I'm doing a training at a school, it does not matter. My authentic self is my authentic self, and it doesn't matter what context I'm in. You're always authentically going to get the totally unique Pamela. Always, hands down, because I want people to be able to see me, Mr. Phillip, my heart, that is. I want people to be able to feel me when I speak. And if I didn't come in as authentic Pamela, then I would have such a disconnect with the people that I work with. And I think that's one of my jewels, is that I want you to know me intimately. I'm vulnerable so that you can get to know me intimately. I want you to really, it's not what you see is what you get, because I want you to see my heart. That's what I want you to see, and that's what I want you to get. And so you'll always get authentic Pam. Regardless of what hat I'm wearing, you will always get authentic Pam.
And that is such a quintessential part of an individual who really wants to be taken seriously, who really wants to be trusted, who really wants to make an impression in this world. I think authenticity is so sort of, people look at it frivolously. They don't understand the power of being so authentic. They think they've got to put guards up and certain acts and things like that. And I know I've got to know you very, very well over not just through meeting you in person and working with you over 5-6 days, but also having worked with you prior to that, having spent times on various meetings that we have. But it is, you are true. And I've always seen you very consistent in how you build how you come across to whoever you might be connecting with. And something that really stood out for all of us in the Train the Trainer in person in London in June was when you delivered that your presentation about your journey and about the vulnerability and how you have really traveled through so many different challenges to get where you are right now. And that is truly inspiring. And I know every single person in that room were taken to a completely different level, and that's a gift as well. I know you and I have talked about this. It's a download from up above, and that is so unbelievable. It is so unbelievable. Yeah, it gives me goosebumps when I really recall all of that and sort of share my experience in our journey thus far. It's really amazing.
It truly is. And even when I'm writing curriculum, if I don't get that download from above, it is not going on paper. You know, when I do a training and I'm connecting with the people, there are moments when I feel like, okay, I'm feeling something that's, divinely, I'm being divinely rained upon, as I call it. And then I just speak it. And it is that one thing that one student needed. And it was not in the curriculum. It was just something that I felt, I heard in my soul, and I spoke it. And then afterwards, a student would come up to me and say, boy, I'm so glad you said that. When you said that, it felt like it was only me and you in this classroom. I needed that. I have been praying about that. And, I thank God, Mr. Phillip. I truly do. I'm a goddaughter. I'm a believer. And I truly thank God, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is what I was created to do. Even before I was in my mother's womb, I know that God ordained me for this work. I know that. And I believe that's why I'm so impactful.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Absolutely amazing. And on that particular note, if I could, for anyone out there, who feels that they're on the back foot in their lives, or someone that needs that bit of extra uplift, whether they come from an underprivileged background or they come from a background where they feel that life is not going their way. How would you give someone sort of guidance in regarding the role of etiquette and really, incorporating it into their lives, especially when they are trying to sort of get into highly competitive fields within the workspace?
I'm going to lean in for this one, Mr. Phillip, because this is great. So the first thing that I would say would be to extend yourself some grace. Number one, extend yourself grace and know that you are not defined by your past. You do not have to be defined by your past. So if you are someone that is constantly beating up on yourself and you have a lot of emotional wounds because of things that you went through in your childhood, you have to find a way to tap into those things and clean out your emotional refrigerator and free yourself from those things. The reason why I say that is because carrying emotional wounds will hinder you in every aspect of your life. I know that because it was me. Okay. So go to counseling, get with a coach, call me, been there, done that, have a t-shirt, donated it to Goodwill because I don't need it anymore. Right. Tap into yourself, because like I always say, I can teach anyone how to place flatware, where to put your stemware, to put your napkin across your lap, how to chew. I can teach you all of those skills. Right. But what does it matter and what does it mean if you are jacked up on the inside? I don't want to create bronze statues. I want to create and help people to become healed from their emotional trauma, to teach people how to go inwardly, to find those things that are hindering you. And then once you couple your emotional freedom with those skills that you can exhibit on the outside, baby, nobody could stop you. And that's the truth.
Absolutely. And that just leads me into, so sort of understanding the people that you are working with and connecting with them. And this is something we focus on heavily, as you know, is finding out who our actual students are, what their makeup is, and being able to connect with them on a very personal level and connect with their so-called makeup and their personality traits and that sort of thing. Now, you have had the privilege of working with people from all sort of backgrounds, but when it comes to people out there who do come from disadvantaged backgrounds, how do you look at tailoring or structuring your coaching to address the unique challenges that they face?
Well, the first thing that I ask them is, what's your end game? What is it that you are wanting to accomplish. I met with a young man the other day. We were just having a meeting to get to know each other. And the first question I asked him was, what's your story? I want to know what your story is, because I can't help you to build a bridge if I don't know what I'm working with and where you are right now. So be vulnerable and be transparent and be honest and share what it is, where you are right now, and ultimately where it is that you are trying to go. And then we can co-create something to get you there. And it really doesn't matter what someone's socioeconomic background is, even though working with the inner city students, and that's my heart. That is when I really feel like my skills shine. It doesn't matter where you come from, because people are emotionally distraught in all walks of life. So the first thing that you really have to do is share your story, your authentic story, and just, know what it is you want to do. And if you don't know what it is you want to do, then say that. And the story that they tell me will help me to help them create that path or that bridge to where it is that they're going.
And on that particular note, I remember you sharing some wonderful success stories that you've been the instrumental tool in those amazing people's lives. Would you mind sharing a couple of insights into some of those beautiful students that you've been working with, and that you are giving them these incredible tools and skills?
Sure. So I just met with a group last week, for example, and we, on the last day, we cried because it was so powerful. I always go around the room and I say, what's your high point? What's your low point? The only low point was we didn't have more time. And some of the outcomes were, I had a young man that said, he was 50 years old. He said, I never felt like I've had a voice. And you helped me in 3 days find my voice. And I will never allow anyone else to muzzle me ever again. I had one young lady she was just in so much distress because she said some negative things to a loved one before they passed away. And she was carrying the grief and the guilt of it. And I explained to her that it wasn't your fault. And once I had her to look me in the eyes and express to me that it's not my fault, it wasn't my fault, she cried and she just began to feel free, just because someone said to her, it wasn't your fault. And then I had her speak to me as if she was her loved one, to say all the things that she'd been wanting to say for the past few years, but felt like she couldn't. I did role play with her so that now she could verbalize the things that she was holding in internally. And it was such an emotional moment for everybody in the room, because as other people are talking and becoming free, the people that are watching, the onlookers, the other students, they're also going through their things and they're releasing things as well. So even though I'm coaching someone one-on-one in this group session, everyone's being coached, and everyone is also experiencing some amount of freedom or release from past emotional trauma. I'm big on healing from past emotional trauma. I carried trauma for 38 years of my life. 38 years. I can't tell you the amount of opportunities that I missed, that I blew. I can't tell you the amount of bad relationships that I was in because I didn't know who I was.
Sure, that's really touching to hear that you just opening up and showing how your vulnerable self has come through there, and it's something that I really do feel that as human beings, it's okay to show and be vulnerable. It really is. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We've gone down some wrong routes, or we've been taken down some wrong paths, or we've been given curveballs during our life, and no one's ever had plain sailing. And this is what I want people out there to understand, that we as human beings, we can very much take what has transpired in our lives, and rather than say, why did that happen to me, we can say, why did that happen for me? Because right. As you mentioned earlier, you just said this is your calling, and you are very much digging deep to bring out this incredible material to inspire others to be able to walk through life with less weight on their shoulders than they ought to have. I mean, in other words, not heavy shoulders, the light, you're lightening the load. And that is so powerful. It is something that is so impactful as well. And I do want you to share. You made us laugh so much in that class, but there's some very funny little stories that you shared with all of us a month ago. I'd love you to sort of share some of the pushback that you've been given by some of the students and how you flipped that around and given them some insights into how powerful this material is.
Well, you know, people, when you're challenging someone to go inward and to, you know, pull things out and to look into those deep spaces, those deep pockets that are inward, that they've compartmentalized or hidden. You know, I get pushback from students asking me, you know, Dr. Pam, why? You know, Dr. Pam, you know, I don't want to do that. Or, you know, you're challenging me. Just last week, a student said to me, you are making me look at a place that I never wanted to look at again, but I'm so glad that I did. And when I'm reaching these students, I'm sharing my story too. So I'm telling them there isn't anything that you're going to tell me that's going to take my hairline back. Nothing at all. You would be surprised at the things that I could share with you that I've gone through. You would be surprised, right? Because I don't look like that. And I teach them you're not supposed to look like that. My Nana always told me that a lady should always look good, smell good, be good. And there's another one that I'll leave off. That's for another conversation. But a lady should always be those things. And I impart that same wisdom that my grandmother imparted into me with my students, because I want them to understand that everything that you went through in life is what brought you to this point. Everything that you've gone through in your dash was supposed to happen so that we could have this encounter, this moment right here. And so for that, I wouldn't change a thing, because I would probably miss out on missing you. It's what I tell them. So I encourage them to dig deep. I encourage them to go inward and to touch those places that are painful. And I ask them, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to cry, right? So let's cry together. And we cry, and then we move on to the next thing. And they realize that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be. But we have a hard time being vulnerable. And that's what it is. We don't want to become vulnerable. And so once you give people a safe place and a non-judgmental space to just be their authentic selves and to let them know it's okay. And then once you share your story to say, I got you, I'm with you, I understand, then people will be more apt to share.
Oh, that's very deep. Yeah, thank you for giving us that sort of understanding. It really is. It's very tough to often get through to people, and by bringing them into your world and what we've experienced can often open those incredible doors for people to sort of then feel comfortable and also confident in exposing those raw nerves. And you know, on this journey that you've been on, I would love to sort of ask you a pivotal moment where mastering etiquette really significantly impacted your professional relationships and opportunities.
I would say there was this organization that I aspired to be a part of some years ago. And although I was invited to be a part of the organization, and again, it was because you had to have a degree to be a part of this organization. I didn't have one, but I presented like I did. So assumptions were made. And once it was realized that I did not have a degree, but I could hold my own and carry my weight just like anybody else at the table with a degree, I knew that I was onto something. I knew that although education is an enhancement, that etiquette could take someone really, really far. And Mr. Phillip, this had to be 25 years ago easily. And now I'm a member of the organization and one of few doctors in the organization. And so I knew I was onto something then.
That's incredible. I love it. I'd love you to, on that note, share with us your journey to your dissertation and the work that you focus on in Rochester. I love an insight into your doctorate and how you really, what was the calling to get to this amazing level, because this doesn't just jump out of a abracadabra and a bunny rabbit jumps out the hat.
Right. I think it came from, why I know that it came from being in high school and being accepted into multiple colleges and not knowing really how to navigate those waters, because I didn't have, I didn't have anyone to help me with that, and it almost brings me to tears just thinking about going to my guidance counselor and asking her, how do I do this? I have an acceptance letter. I want to go to college. What do I do? And she said to me, you should forget about that, because girls like you don't go to college. And I embraced that. I accepted that because it's my guidance counselor. Like, she knows who should go to college and who shouldn't. And I embraced that. And I was afraid to go to college. So much so that I attempted to go to 3 different colleges at 3 different times in my life, because I always had this I always wanted to learn. And I did well, but I didn't stay, because the imposter syndrome was so strong that I began to hear my guidance counselor's voice saying, girls like you don't go to college. And then one of my cousins and 2 of my friends said, my cousin said, you can be 30 with a degree or 30 without a degree, but either way, 30's coming. My girlfriend said, you got to be the class of something. My other girlfriend said, just start somewhere. You have inspired so many people to go to college. All of these ladies these young people that you're mentoring are getting degrees and you still don't have one. Just start somewhere. So that was where I started. And then from there, I I just continued. And I had this drive in me where I knew that I was supposed to be a doctor, because I saw it on a book, Dr. Pamala something. I saw it. I saw it, that I had books to write to inspire other young ladies who may be in similar situations, who also feels like they don't have anyone to turn to or anyone to talk to about this, and they don't know how to navigate the waters. And I also was tired of getting turned down from jobs because I could do the work, but I didn't have the educational requirements. So I wanted to check off all the boxes. Education was not going to be the reason why you denied me or did not promote me. That was not going to be it. So I decided to do that. I finished my bachelor's program at Roberts Wesleyan. I was pulled from the program because I was ill. I finished my master's program. I was pulled from the program without even knowing I was pulled from the program because I was ill. And my classmates started texting me saying, we're so sorry, your energy is not going to be in the classroom. I didn't even know, but my illness was a distraction. And while I was in my doctoral program, I found out that I needed brain surgery. And that's what was happening in these other programs, but I didn't know. I was evaluated, hospitalized, all these things, but I didn't know. I decided that I was not going to be held back. I was held back from cohort 6 at St. John Fisher Executive Leadership Program. I invited other people to come and join the program with me. They finished. And then once I joined cohort 7, I was not going to stop the program. And so, Mr. Phillip, I asked my doctor, how critical is this? And she said, well, do you want to live and be here for your children? And I said, yes. She said, well, it's just that critical. So I contacted the school and I said, is there a break? Like they said, you get a break in April. This was December. And I asked my doctor, I said, I'm not quitting school. Can we do it over break? And she said, you're going to have to get many spinal taps to get this fluid off of your brain. Many spinal taps between now and April. And I said, whatever it takes, because I'm not quitting school. I had many spinal taps, Mr. Phillip. I went through about procedures, medical procedures of different kind while I was in this doctoral program. It took me 12 years to finish my doctoral program, but I was determined to finish. And while I was in the program, my dissertation topic was changed, I don't know, 4 times at least. My chairs changed at least 3 times. And each time I had to start over, but I was determined to finish this program. And my last chair and committee member, Dr. Mike Wisnowski and Dr. Cheryl Holloway, I will never, ever forget them. They put me back on track to researching etiquette. And as you mentioned, I'm a member of the Links organization, and I decided I'm already a part of this organization. I'm going to use something that people that I'm familiar with as my research participants. And I wanted to study just how impactful is etiquette to adult women, adult Black women specifically, if they participated in etiquette programs during adolescence. And so I researched women in my area and between Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, and Niagara Falls. And I came up with this population of people, and it was unanimously decided from these women's perceived perceptions that yes, etiquette helped them socially, academically, professionally, personally, that it was beneficial, regardless of the way it was taught, regardless of the context, that people learned from their relatives, people learned at church, people learned from programs, people learned from sororities, all different types of programs. But what I'm proud to say is that it's proven that etiquette does work. It's now research-based. And so as soon as my dissertation is published, all of the etiquette professionals in the world will be able to cite published scientific research indicating they can put it on their website that etiquette does work. And that's it. That's my journey.
I love it. Wow, what a journey. What a journey. I mean, to find out that you needed brain surgery and to go through that journey, I mean, that is absolute down to perseverance and determination. And again, someone was calling you to stand strong and stay focused, which is just, it literally gives me goosebumps from head to toe. And I salute you, I applaud you, and I'm sure all the listeners out there are just absolutely most probably speechless, just listening and understanding how this journey has unfolded for you. And kudos to you, Dr. Pamela, for not giving up, because in life, it's a lot easier to give up than it is to persevere, right?
Absolutely. And giving up was never an option. Did I want to give up, Mr. Phillip? I saw myself throwing my laptop against the wall. I can't tell you how many times. But quitting was not an option because my babies were watching me. The babies that I coach and my children, they were watching me. I couldn't give up. Could not.
Tell me, Dr. Pamela, giving up, as you said, is not an option. On this journey of not giving up, do you have a wonderful success story from some of from just one of your beautiful students? Is there a little bit of success that you can share with us from just one of your amazing students?
Sure. You know, I have a student that wanted to give up on life, and they had signed up for class. They came to a class where I was a consultant to go in to work with the students. And the student came into class, and we had those first 3 amazing days before they started their program. And the student actually told me that they had intentions on going home and committing suicide. That is the greatest give up to me, right? The greatest give up. And this was the first day of class. And the student came to me right during the lunch break and said, and that's 3 hours, okay? 3 hours. The student came up to me and said, thank you. She hugged me and she said, my intention was to go home and commit suicide because life is lifing and I don't know what else to do. And you gave me hope. And now I just want to live. I just want to live. And I want to experience everything that God has for me in my dash, because I know that everything is a buildup to what is going to happen, to what is supposed to happen. And so when the student shared that with me, I was just kind of flabbergasted, because just like you can't look at me and tell, you couldn't look at her, and tell that she was going through this type of hell on the inside. But she did. She said, I'm not going to commit suicide. And I said, Pinky, promise with me. Like, Pinky, promise that you will not do that to yourself ever. Whenever you feel like you're on a ledge, you have my personal number, call me. But Pinky, promise, I don't care how bad it gets. If you've ever felt like you've never had anyone before, now you do. And this student is thriving right now. She's thriving. She works every day. She's in an advanced program. She's thriving. That's the greatest testimony that I could give about not giving up, when someone chooses not to give up on life.
Yeah. And that pivotal moment that she attended the session where you were delivering is just, hallelujah. That's phenomenal. That's amazing. And believe it or not, Dr. Pamela, I regret and hate to say that I don't know where the last 50 minutes have gone, but we have been galloping away like a pony out of control, a horse out of control. Just 2 or 3 little tools or skills that you can share with people out there, where, firstly, what etiquette lesson do you wish you had learned earlier on in your life, and how do you now incorporate that lesson into your coaching?
I would say, because for a long time I lived with imposter syndrome, and I mentioned this earlier, get to know yourself. Find those things that are barriers to you and release. Believe it or not, etiquette falls under social skills, and that is emotional healing falls under social skills as well. So get to know yourself and identify those things sooner rather than later that hinders your success. That would be my number 1. Number 2, have the courage to challenge those things. Number 3, celebrate those short-term victories. When you overcome something emotionally, celebrate yourself. Number 4, always extend yourself grace. And number 5, live life authentically and unapologetically every single day as if it's your last day.
I love that. And Dr. Pamela, what is your unique farewell to people? What do you always say?
My unique farewell is create your totally unique day, every day on purpose.
And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today, joining us on Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire. It's an absolute honor, and I'm so looking forward to what the future holds. And thank you for just giving us this beautiful insight. And I pray and hope that a lot of people get to have watched the show and will get to watch this incredible show, because you really are a true inspiration.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Phillip.
My pleasure. Thank you. Take care, Dr. Pamela.
Same to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire. It is a true joy and an honor to have you watch these inspirational journeys and programs. Please join us toward the end of August. We've got an amazing guest coming on. We always have amazing guests coming on. We are privileged to receive these guests and get an opportunity to ask them the most incredible questions that hopefully will give you great inspiration. So keep focused, stay positive. If you need anything from any of us, just reach out, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip SYKES, building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners. clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today.